Good weekend, everyone. I hope you're all doing amazing this weekend. This was probably one of the slowest news weeks that we've had as far as Upland is concerned, but probably one of the most exciting weeks that we've had personally in the Upland metaverse for sure. I mean, first off, we've got the Woodhood, our new SSFTG node being built up in Sherwood Forest within Detroit, and the Woodhood merch store and the Royal Queens tour, just to mention a couple things going on right now. Hey there, John Henry here, SSFTG. Welcome to the video. If this is your first time on the channel, welcome, my friend. I hope to earn your like and subscription today. Welcome to the weekend review, where we go over and take a bit of time to discuss what's going on in the Upland metaverse from more of a technical and analytical perspective. How is the UpX economy doing? How about each market sector? Spark values and structures? How about nodes? We've got those on the list too. Which is the best deal and what's the worst? All of this incredibly important information that a lot of folks overlook and miss, and that can be the difference between success and failure. If you want to join all of us in the Upland metaverse, head over to discover.upland.me/SSFTG or click the promo link in the description below. It makes it a little bit faster. And that way you can get started in the Upland metaverse with 6,000 starting UpX to get your adventures kickstarted. Plus, not to mention, when you invest some cash in the game, since you used the promo link, you also get a monster 50% bonus to your first UpX purchase with a cap of 50,000 UpX. That's basically like putting $100 in and getting $50 for free. How do you pass that up? Don't forget to check out the new merch store now live over at ssftg.live/merch to pick up your Woodhood nodeler gear to support our cause. 50% of all of the profits go to Autism Speaks. It's an incredible cause, the largest association for autism in the US. Definitely something to check out and support if you're looking for a great cause. So let's take a look at what's going on in the Upland metaverse, shall we? First up, the news calendar and everything going on this week is very, very light. There is not much news at all this past week. In fact, the only thing that we really had, aside from kind of the continuation of Genesis Week, is the Royal Queens tour. That was about it. The Royal Queens tour, unfortunately for me, I wasn't able to do during the launch period. I was able to do it, but I didn't get a chance to record it. It was really awkward timing with picking up the kids from school and all that fun stuff. But it was a really good tour. It worked out really well. Lots of really interesting spots, one of which was actually one of the buildings that I was like an inch away from being able to mint, but oh well. Now it's just rubbing salt in the wound at this point. It was a really, really cool tour. If you didn't get a chance to do it, definitely make sure to participate in the next tour on the next city release, whenever and wherever that is, because they're a lot of fun, and it's a great way to learn more about the new area. Of course, the other large news announcement, more for us on this end of things here, but yesterday we talked about and announced the Upland Metaverse first SSFTG node in Sherwood Forest, the Woodhood in Detroit. Super excited, super pumped, and the turnout has been bonkers. Holy cow, you guys. Jeez, oh Pete's. Really, really cool to see the amount of support that's coming in for this one. That just, it makes my soul happy. This is such an important cause for me, and it's something that I really am excited to get into, and seeing all of the support and everything else is just incredible. If you want to go back through and watch the video that was posted here, I'll try to remember to get the link down there as well, but that was the last video upload that we did before this one, so it should be relatively easy to find. Definitely a lot of really good info, and it breaks down everything that you need to know about the node. All right, and then on over into the market analytics for the week to kind of see what's going on over the past 30 days, or at least over the past 7 days change. The last 30 days, we have had our UpX value as far as secondary market activity at $3.154 billion. Last week was $3.264, so that's down 3.337%. A little bit of a reduction there. We did obviously see a nice kick up when the node, the collections rather, you can see what's on my mind, when the collection release for Queens came out. And now for the most part, we're going a little bit more sideways, a little bit more kind of choppy sloppy here and kind of hanging out. One thing that I find very interesting here is the amount of swaps. The amount of swaps seems to have just kind of dropped off the planet, right? I mean, the number of trades, that's going down a little bit here and a little bit of back and forth, but the amount of swaps have really, really tanked, and I don't know why that is, but it really just, it fell apart. It's like nobody's swapping for anything anymore. That could just be because it's a new city release and people are playing it safe because they don't necessarily know what they have yet. I don't know, but the swaps have really fallen off the lows there. As far as the unminted properties go, last week we had 612,265, and that was after the induction of Queens and all of those properties. It was a big increase of properties. Now that we've had some time to get those offloaded, and we've had that first week, which last week was like, what, almost 10% that disappeared from the pool. Now we are back into, I don't want to say normal, but more normality. This week at 585,295 properties. That's down 4.404%, which under normal week circumstances around like 4 to 5%, pretty average now. Then we can jump on over into the zone-by-zone analysis. The first one up on the list, of course, being Bakersfield. And as far as Bakersfield is concerned, we've got a relatively flat UPIX floor going from 9,000 to 89.99. That's unchanged, basically. Technically, it's down one UPIC. Is it UPIC? One up. What, I don't know, whatever it is. As far as the dollars go, $6 up to $6.29. That's an increase of 4.83%, with the lowest markup between USD and UPIX being 100%, or at cost, basically. For the collection end of Bakersfield, obviously we've got some pretty heavy moves going on here, but some of the more notable ones, 28% up in the Oaks. We've got 14% up in Seven Oaks and Grand Hill, 41% up in Niles Street, and, just a casual 53% up in California Ave. Just a little bit of movement, but predominantly very, very bullish. I mean, technically there is a negative. The West Bakersfield is down 11%. We've got 4% down in Pacheco Road, but I mean, that doesn't even compare to the other ones, 40 and 50% up. Jeez. The Bronx is also demonstrating some pretty good stability here as well. Previous UPIX floor and current UPIX floor, 11,800, completely unchanged. $9 to $9.54 is the USD side of things, up 6%. 87.97% is the lowest markup between USD and USD. UPIX and USD. And 21.47 is the arbitration value between the two. The collection side in Bronx is getting a little bit beat up here. On this end of things, we've got a bit of a shift compared to what we saw over in Bakersfield. We're down 10% over in Belmont, 12% down in City Island, Mott Haven's down 23%, and 23% down in Sedgwick Ave. The largest gainer that we have this entire week is 12% up in Grand Concourse, and everything else is like 5%, 4%, not a whole lot going on. The collection side in Bronx is definitely getting dumped on. Brooklyn's next up with a bit of some downward momentum here, 95.99 to 89.48, down 6.78%. The USD floor going from 680 to 655, down 3.68% there. Arbitration between the two, 22.78 with 146.2 being the lowest markup. Still pretty good markup value, all things considered. On the collection front side of things, we've got some pretty big movers here as well. Crown Heights down 29.5%, up 36% in Coney Island, down 23% in Broadway, and everything else is basically kind of flat to sideways. Some pretty big movers. The collections, again, seem to be really, really volatile. It's that Chicago time. We're back again with Chicago, and, again, kind of not too bad compared to some of the other ones. The East Coast really got whacked, but again, the collections, man. Collections this time around are a little bit of a wild one. Previous UPIX floor, 7,200 to 7,000. That's a decrease of 2.78%. USD floor going from 495 to 489. That's only 1.21%. Not a big deal there. Lowest markup between the two, 64.75%, with an arbitration value of 2,000. It's not even close, circle. 2005 between those two. Chicago has not had a very happy time with collections either. We've got 18% down in South Shore. I don't have that collection. I might have to pick some of those up. 12% up in Logan Square, 10% up in Wicker Park. Then we go down a little bit further to the negatives, 17% down in Hyde Park. State Street's down 16%, 10% down in West Division, 13% up in Gold Coast. That's kind of nice. And then just a casual 43.75% in the right buildings. Big lift on that side of things, going from 3.2 million to 4.5. Cleveland next up to the plate. Previous UPIX floor 89.95. This week 94.75, up 5.34%. USD floor going from 550 to 590. That's up 7.27%. Cleveland doing very well this past week. Arbitration value, arguably, on some of the cheaper ones at least, among the best at 33.96, with the lowest markup being at cost 100%. It seems like for the most part, Cleveland has escaped some of the volatility on collections, with the largest movers being 5%, 0%, 8%. We do have a 13% decline in Euclid Ave, and we have a 34.5% increase in Carnegie Ave, but everything else is relatively flat. I guess Glenville's up 10% too, but not a whole lot. Pretty calm and quiet, and a very nice upward slope. Over in Detroit, our new home base, of course, over in Sherwood Forest, the Wood Hood. This area has had a little bit of a pullback. The UPIC side of things doing pretty well, 41.50 to 41.88, increasing 0.92%. The USD floor going from 317 to 3. That's down 5.36%, with the lowest markup at 69.87%. UPICs to USD arbitration, 1,129. On the collections perspective, we've got some pretty big movers here as well. Nothing as crazy as on the New York end, but we do have some 13 and 11% movers. Jefferson Chalmers is up 13%. East English Village is down 11%. 12% up in Rosedale Park, 21% down in Grand Boulevard, 18% down in Woodbridge. We've got a 14% increase in Grand River Ave, 15.5% up on Brush Park. We've got 25% down on Chicago Boulevard, and then we start dipping off into the 7%. So some pretty big moves going on here on the collection end as well. Fresno next up to the plate. 9,000 was last week's UPIX floor. This week, 91.99. That's a nice little increase of 2.21%. Good old stable growth. 595 was the previous floor to 590. That's a decrease of 0.84%. Relatively calm there. Lowest markup, 166.6%, with the USD UPIX arbitrage valuation coming in at 31.34. Also, not a bad spot, although Fresno is a little bit of a slower market. Regardless of whether or not it's slow, it still holds its value. The lowest markup's 166.6 after all. Looking at the collection side of things, we've got some pretty good ebb and flow, and a 23% decrease in Woodward Park, 16.9% down in Tower District, 19% up in North Grove area, 48% up in Lowell, 59% up in downtown Murals. Big movers. Firefighters, that says down 100%, but that's because there aren't any for sale anymore. Those are gone. So basically was on the market and now it's not. Over in Kansas City, the previous UPIX floor is $79.52. This week it's the same, hasn't changed, unchanged on the UPIX side of things, but $6.25 down to $5.70 is an 8.8% decrease on the Kansas City USD floor. That gives us a 62.25% lowest markup with an arbitration value of $21.39 on the floor. Collections in Kansas City are seeing a pullback here as well, but a little bit more of a stable market. A lot of 0%, 2.5%, nothing crazy. 10% down on Main Street, down 3%, 5%, 16% down on Grand Boulevard, and 30% down on Southwest Boulevard. That's really about it. Honestly, it's another one of those markets that still has properties to be minted, and it's a bit on the slower side of things, right? So it takes a bit of time. On the collection side of things, Kansas City is seeing a bit of a pullback here, but predominantly pretty flat. I mean, there's a lot of 0% in here, 2%, nothing too crazy, until we get down to the 16% decrease in Grand Boulevard or the 30% decrease in Southwest Boulevard. Then we can see where the pullback actually took place, but otherwise, it's kind of a calm and quiet one over here. Los Angeles, which I've basically kind of given up on trying to even fit in the screen anymore. It's up there, right? As far as the overall UPIX floor, 7,500 to 7,749, that is an increase of 3.32%. The USD floor going from 550 to 577 for a 4.91% increase. Lowest markup, 62.67% between USD and UPIX, and the arbitration value between the two is 1,880. There are a lot of movers on the collection side of things here, so let's buckle in and get going. 18% down in Los Feliz. We have 14% up in Pacific Palisades, 16% down in Chavoy Hills, 13% down in Larchmont. We've got 9% up in Sunset Boulevard, 17% up in Mulholland Drive, 11% down in Wilshire Boulevard, 12% up in Franklin Ave, 12% down in the Gregorius Angelino, and 400% up in the Scenes of LA. Yeah, Scenes of LA. Whew, geez, oh Pete's. Lots and lots of collections in the Los Angeles area. Manhattan is next up on the list and seeing a little bit more of a continued pullback on the USD side of things. The UPIX floor staying relatively stable, 129,888 to 127,300. It's only down 1.99%. USD floor, though, going from 89 to 80, and I actually saw some of them in the 70s. I don't know if they actually got bought or if those were accidents and were taken off the market, but there were some in the 70s, incredibly cheap properties. That's down 10.11%, with the lowest markup now at 214.55%. Arbitration value is still obviously incredible in Manhattan. That's at $44,935, but we're talking an expensive market. This is where we can really see something kind of interesting taking place, right? Manhattan has been under fire for a while, and everybody's been kind of like, what's going to happen to Manhattan with Queens? Now it's the last part of Queens. Is the value going to go up? Are we going to see this thing tank? What's going to happen? And this is where we can really see the money kind of putting their feet in the ground, so to speak. That's in the collections. 18% down in the limited collection Upper East Side, 13% down in Chinatown. It's a fun one to say. But then we go into things like Little Italy, which went from $280,000 to $499,000. That's up 78.5%. We've got a 20% decrease in Park Ave. And then it turns around and goes 42% up in Financial District. And along with that, 66.67% up in Bleecker Street, too. I mean, all the collections on all of the other places have been getting whacked pretty hard, but we come over here, sure, the lower end is seeing a bit of a pullback, but man, the value on some of these upper end collections definitely there. Nashville's having a little bit of a hard time on the UPIC side of things, going from 99.89 to 89.97. That's down 9.93%. Man, there's a lot of nines in there. The USD floor going from 5 to 5, no change, 0% there. 64.92% is the lowest markup between the two. And the arbitration value, really good comparative to some of the others, 37.97. Although the collections in Nashville are on the negative side, we've got 16% decreases in West Nashville, and just the base collection's already down almost 10%. We've got another 10% down in Parkwood, basically 10% in Fatherland, going a little bit further in Broadway, that's down 15% as well. And there's not any, there is one gainer, sorry, it didn't look like there was. There was an 8% up in downtown, otherwise predominantly pulling back. New Orleans is also getting a bit of a pullback. They didn't escape the fate either. We have the previous floor at $94.99 to $89.98, down 5.27%. The USD floor going from $645 to $597, down 7.44%, with the lowest markup being 80.04%. Arbitration value between the two, $2,877, so that part's still not too bad, but there are definitely better markets. Now, as far as stability is concerned, we definitely have our stability shoes on when the New Orleans wins came through. The rest of the markets are getting pulled back on, and sure, we're seeing some pullbacks in collections here too, but very, very little, 0%, 0%, 3%. We do have a 13% decline in Hain Boulevard, a 10% drop in Royal Street, and a 10% in St. Charles Ave to the downside. But that's really about it, and considering that some of the other ones are having moves of 30, 40, 50%, this one's pretty stable. Oakland is getting the back end of the ugly stick on the USD side of things. It's not going very well for them right now, but for pullback buyers, dip buyers looking for the cheap, oh boy, we are on a fire sale here. Previous UPIX floor, 10,200, currently 9,500. That's down 6.86%. USD floor going from 749 to 630. That's down 15.8% with the lowest markup at 71.57%. USD to UPIX arbitrage, USD to UPIX arbitrage. I thought I said that the right way. 3,040, which is definitely not bad at all. Collections in the upper end on the Oakland side of things are, well, the opposite of Manhattan. It seems like everybody left Oakland and went to Manhattan. This thing is getting just brutalized right now. 23% down in the West End. Fantastic pullback. There is a shining light, just 10% up in Piedmont. There's one that's up. 12% down in South Berkeley. We've got 10% down in Grand Lake. 12% up in UC Berkeley. 19% up in Gibbons Drive. Down 37.5% in Oakland Libraries. And Jack London Murals down 85%. Basically going from off sale at $100 million to on sale at $15 million. Big decrease on that one. The latest one, Queens, we finally have some data to see how these collections have been doing and how everything's been going. So far, the UPIX floor going from 5,200 to 4,949. Not really a shock to see that pullback, but that's down 4.83%. If we're looking at the USD floor, 366 to 379, that's an increase. to 3.55%. And again, given what we've been talking about, that kind of makes sense. A lot of the USD floor first comes in and dumpsters it. That gets all kind of swept under the rug, picked up by people who realize how much value that is, and then they start flipping it, because now the USD to UPX arbitration value is only 1,100. Very, very small in Queens. They've definitely tightened up between those two margin points. Lowest markup 69%, but really looking at everything else, we're seeing things that kind of make sense so far. The collection side of things is seeing some incredible movers. Forest Hills, namely, being the first one, on a standard collection up 23.5%. Holy moly, 15% up in Douglaston. We've got down 7% in Hollis Hills, 30% increase in Queens Boulevard, 20% down in Astoria Boulevard. Conduit Ave is down 16%, and we have one of them, Queens Curators, going from not on sale to on sale at $5.26 million, working their way on that. Rutherford may not be very big, but boy, does it have a big market. The previous UPX floor, $52,500 to $49,999, $99,999, however many nines are supposed to be in there. That is currently down 4.76%. USD floor going from $48.90 down to $38. That is a whopper of a decrease, down 22%. And I actually saw some properties, I think as low as $33. Way, way cheaper than the norm. Obviously, those got scooped up pretty quick, but the lowest markup value is at $388.73 with a very nice arbitration value at $11,399. Collections in the area basically haven't moved. They're all unchanged except for the Park Ave, which is up 0.46%. Otherwise, not much going on that front. San Francisco next up on the list. The previous UPX floor, $33,500 to $33,777. That's up 0.83%. The USD floor, 20 to 21. Very healthy UPX arbitration value of $12,138, with the lowest markup being 219.86%. From the collection standpoint, we do have a relatively stable market, although there are some really nice movers in here, like 18% up in Pacific Heights, 12% up in Russian Hills, and 11% down in Haight-Ashbury, 18% down in Established in 2019, and 10% down in Iconic SF. Everything else relatively flat, calm, quiet, and holding on to value pretty well. Over in Santa Clara, we have the previous UPX floor at $31,968 going up to $32,755. That's an increase of 2.45%. The previous USD floor, $21.99 to $22.80, 3.68% on that side of things. The lowest markup being $62.06 with the arbitrage value at $9,453. Another great arbitration market. The collection end of things, again, we can definitely tell that Santa Clara is one of these areas that when people get a hold of, they don't like letting go very much of, because when it dips, man, this thing rips back up again. If you remember, last week we had a bit of a dip in Santa Clara, and this week we've got a 20% increase in West Central, a 45% increase in Southwest, and a 14% decrease in Homestead. Looks like someone is trying to get their property sold there in Homestead, but otherwise, man alive, what a ripper of a week it's been for Santa Clara. And then over in Staten Island, which is another one that got the back end of the ugly stick on the USD side of things, $94.80 to $89.90. That is down 5.17%. And the USD floor going from $7.49 to $6. That's down almost 20% on that end. Lowest markup, still pretty good value, 154.32%, with an arbitration value of $28.41. In the collection side of the Staten Island area, I mean, we've got some pretty decent movers going on here. 42% up in Tottenville, 40% up in Stapleton, 10% down in Tot Hill. Tompkinsville is down 22%, 19% down in Richmond Terrace, and St. Paul's Ave down 14%. But 40% gainers on the lower end of the spectrum. Seems like there's definitely some buying interest on the lower collection end in Staten Island. And then finally, over into the housing and structures and spark values and all that fun stuff. The lowest markup in the housing industry is 105%. This week's lowest collection value is $25. Last week it was $29, so that's down 13.79%. As far as UPX value goes, this week versus last week in a collection market structure is $41,000 to $35,000, which is down 14.63%. Looking across the different types of structures here, that will give us our overall weekly move, and a lot of them are definitely on pullback momentum here. If we're looking at, well, all of them are actually down. We're down 15% on the small townhouse flat roof. It's also down 18% on large luxury ranch houses, 16% down on the large luxury modern houses. That's on the UPX end of things. On the USD side of things, the small ranch house is down 12.5%, 12% down in the medium townhouses, a whopping 20% down in large luxury modern houses. But to be fair, I doubt that $38 price point is going to stay there very long. So if you're looking to pick up a large luxury modern, chances are that's not going to be there very long. And probably by the time the video's out, it's going to be gone anyway. But it is there as an opportunity. For builders, the most valuable building to be building on at the moment on the UPIC side of things is going to be on the small townhouse flat roof, which is sitting at 30.53 per hour. Now, if we're looking at the USD side of things, the most valuable one is the small townhouse flat roof. Small townhouse pitched roof, rather, at 2316. Not bad overall, but we are definitely seeing a pretty big pullback in the housing market side of things, which, you know, I think a lot of it is based on the fact that people are looking for utility. What's interesting is we just heard Upland talking about opening up the beta program for more Uplanders to be joining in for their own Block Explorer shops. And you would think that the housing values would increase, but it may just be that people are trying to build their own. If that's the case, then being a Spark builder is definitely where to be, but even the housing market side of things with the rest of the market is seeing a bit of a pullback, and it might just be the fact that it's falling in line with everything else. Going through some of the nodes that, thanks to some of you all dropping them in the comments and allowing me to add them to the list, I didn't add all of them. I did keep the ones that were already in collections out because, well, I mean, we're already tracking those ones, right? It's part of our collection list. We talk about them anyway, so it kind of was redundant to have them on this. That said, out of these, and these aren't in any particular order, it's just from the top down based on Brooklyn, Bronx, Chicago, alphabetical from the top, basically. The node location starting off, Red Hook in Brooklyn. Red Hook in Brooklyn, previous USD floor was $49 this week. It's at $70. That's an increase of 42.86%. The UPIX floor last week, $90,000 this week, $80,000, currently down 11.11%. Going over into the Bronx side with the Country Club node, the previous USD floor $13.99, now currently $13.13, down 6.15%. The UPIX floor unchanged at $16.99.9. In Chicago, Portage Park, we're seeing a little bit of a pullback in Portage Park, going from the USD floor at $12 to $9.99. That's down 16.75%. And then we have our UPIX floor going from $14,420 to $14,955, which is an increase of 3.71. On Detroit in the street side of things, we have the 8 Mile Street. The USD floor, there are not very many properties for sale via USD, so it's a little bit off and inflated, but the USD floor currently unchanged at $29.90. The current UPIX floor at $15,000. Last week was at $17,400, which is down 13.79%. Henry Ford, another one in Detroit. The previous USD floor is at 15. The current floor is at 25. Very nice, healthy increase there of 66.6%. Along with that, the UPIX floor, $15,900 to $15,999, increasing 0.62%. Marginal on that side of things. Staying in Detroit, going on to Mexican Town next, 45 to 45 is an unchanged USD floor, but going from 45,000 to 62,666, that's a pretty healthy increase, 39.26% over in the Mexican Town node. Over in Toluca Lake next, that's going to be over in the Los Angeles side of things. The previous USD floor at $14.50 to $13.50, down 6.9%. The UPIX floor $13,800 to $13,500, down 2.17%. Morningside Park over in Los Angeles, the USD floor going from $8.88 to $11.25, beautiful increase, 26.69%. The UPIX floor going from $12,121 to $12,641 is an increase of 4.29%, pretty healthy there as well. The other Los Angeles node with Century City had the previous USD floor at $195 to $198 with an increase of 1.54%. And the UPIX floor going from $240,000 to $247,999 is an increase of 3.33. Good value there as well. Winnetka going from $6 to $6, unchanged on the USD floor, but going from $66.70 to $78.95 on the UPIX floor with a beautiful 18.37% increase. Broadway, one of the streets in Los Angeles for racers and cars and all of that, which we don't have cars or racing yet, so it's understandable why it's a bit under pressure, but $25 to $22, that's down 12%. However, the USD floor is unchanged at $12,700. The Oakland Glenview node is gone from $23 to $18, which is a decrease of 21.74%, and the UPX floor from $24,000 to $20,000 with a decrease of 16.67%. Very nice pullback there in Glenview if you're interested in looking at a nice little node pickup there. In Queens, the Neponset node is last week $30, this week $38. Beautiful increase, 26.67%. The UPX floor going from $29,000 to $38,000, increasing 31.38% there. Fantastic increases on that front. Whoops. And then we'll zoom in on the last one here with the last one in Queens in Holliswood going from $35 to $49 with a change up 40%. UPX floor going from $40,000 to $64,000, increasing 60% on that side. And then, of course, we can't leave the video without going over the wood hood. Now, to be fair, I'm not going to be doing this much detail and going over this much stuff on the wood hood every single video that we go over. But since this is the first one and we just released it, I'm going to go over the spreadsheet, kind of cover what all of this is, what all of this means, how all of this works. That way we're all on the same page as far as an open line of communication. So the first thing that we have on the left side here, all of these different addresses and all of that stuff, these are the properties that I currently own. Like I talked about in the video, I own 28 properties, 26 of which I am going to be holding on for the foreseeable future. Let's just say that. Now, the two in orange down here are the ones that do not meet ECR requirements. So what I am doing is I am building on these properties, and these will be the first ones that we will use for our giveaways when that approaches. So, as far as the properties are concerned, these are my addresses and the ones that I own in the node. The size of the UP squared in that area, how much I paid for them, how much they bring in monthly in terms of UPX, and the ECR number right here, which we did a separate video on. And as long as the ECR number, the earning value is over 0.01 for the node specifically, I will hold on to it. And if it's below that, we will use those for flips and all of that fun stuff, giveaways and all kinds of cool stuff. Those are the ones highlighted in orange here. Going on to the next spot on the Autism Speaks donation side of things, which you'll notice already has stuff in it. How awesome! We've already had a couple sales on the merch store. Thank you guys so much. You are incredible. A couple sales have already means that we've already fueled $10.50 in that donation, and we haven't even technically started May yet. Now, as far as each one of these individual things goes, these are the profit from each individual sale. It could be one sale with several things in it or one unit, but these are the amounts of profits per item, and that is going to get broken down over here. So that way we've got all of that laid out, and we're all on the same page. The next side of things are going to be the sends and the raffles for UPX. The amount of sends that I've collected so far is 26. That means that we have our raffle UPX at 520, and if we go in, actually, if I look at my collected sends, there's actually one more send that I've got to add to the list. So we'll bump that up to 27, which increases that amount. Now, this one went to 12,109. I don't know if they're actually a nodeler or not. I'm counting every single send. And that brings me to my first point that I wanted to bring up about the announcement video as far as a slight, not change, but a modification. One of the first things, obviously, that I just totally didn't even think about is that not everybody's going to be in Detroit. Not everybody's going to be able to do a send. I pretty much have a property in basically every zone. And if I don't, I will at some point because I want to have a collection in every zone for at least this purpose, if not just personal reasons. That said, I am counting every send. So if you send to one of my properties, I don't care which one, but send to one of my properties and that will get added to the raffle. You also don't have to be a nodeler. Yes, I can see in there and I can see how many people, did their sends and all of that, but I'm going to go out and I'm going to count them all. That way, all of our properties that we have, every single time someone sends to them, whether they're a nodeler or not, the nodelers are going to get the benefits for it. So far, now that I've started doing that, that went from, I think it was like 7 or 8. I got a bunch of sends last night that I've got to tally in there, and it jumped up to 27. That will definitely help the raffle side of things because what I was noticing is that the UPX that we're making, our APY, our UPX net earnings, is far outshadowing the raffle. I thought that would be inverse. I thought that would flip-flop. So we may have to change a couple things in terms of how that works because I thought the sends were going to be more. I'm just 100% honest. That said, like I said, opening it up to the entirety of Upland, if it's my property and you send to it, it's going to get added to the raffle. That will definitely help that quantity jump up pretty quick. Before we go into the next stuff, we've got the UPX net profit. These are the profit in UPX. I know these are small, but these are just small little flips to dump off some of the Queen's floor properties. Make sure the calculator is working and all that. And every single time that there is a property sale from our property holdings, and that is from this spreadsheet over here, if one of these sells, that's the profit that we add to the list. Right? So if this one were to sell, 138 gets added to the spreadsheet over here, and that's what gets fueled into the profit structure that we were talking about over here on those UPX property sales, 33, 33, 33. That's the breakdown on that side of things. USD property sales, which I haven't placed any for sale as of yet. I'm still kind of going along with things and letting the market shake itself out first before we go into anything too crazy. But when those do show up, they'll show up in this list, and it will auto-calculate for everything else. So if we go in and we say, let's say we have a property that sells for a net profit of $10, then that $10 will get split across the areas that it needs to get split across. We've got the USD Dono, the Spark Holdings, the USD Pay, etc. All that fun stuff is all automatically calculated for us. Then the UPX APY, this is what's going to get Lotto rewarded out. That's supposed to be weekly. I'm not sure why that says monthly, but it's supposed to be weekly Lotto. And what this is coming from is, if I go over into here, let me collect this send really quick here. I already cataloged it, but that is going to be this number over here. So when I go in and I see that this is 2,338.35, well, that's what I'm adding to the spreadsheet, right? So I'm going to go into the spreadsheet, and we'll add that to the giveaway. Let me make sure that it's the right number. So 2338.35. It'll just say 2338. Perfect. That means that our first place winner so far for the week is going to make 3,700 UPX, 1,500 UPX, and almost 1,000 UPX. And then we can collect the earnings. And once those earnings are collected, we've cataloged them. They're ready to go. They're ready to go back into the three-way giveaway. That's a tough one to say. And it's all locked and loaded. But like I said, I was kind of taken back by the fact that the UPX APY way outshadowed the sends. Either I'm not doing enough sends, or we need to do more sends collectively, or we need to maybe modify the way that we approach it. Ideas, of course, are always welcome from nodelers, especially, so we can kind of get some idea as to what you all are thinking on this one. And actually, this is a great example. We just had two properties sell. So 13332 at 116th Street. So let me go over into this spreadsheet over here. And what was that? 13332. That address right there. So that means that we sold this property, and we're adding 102 UPX to the other spreadsheet. So we'll go over here. I'll add 102 on that list, and then we can clear this property off of this list and get that one gone. Now, we did sell another one. That's 24041. So 24041 is this guy right here, which is another 105 UPX to the pool. So we'll go over here, another 105 UPX to that pool, and then we can delete that line. And now we've got those updated as well, just so you can see how that kind of works too. All right, well, that's going to do it for this week in review, going over all kinds of different stuff, from the city by city to the overall Upland as an entirety metaverse, to node by node, to our own personal node, seeing how everything is going. If you have any questions or anything else, feel free to drop those in the comments below. We have a ton of stuff going on. I have 1,000,003 comments to answer. Please keep those comments coming. I love hearing from you guys, but it's going to take me a minute to get through all of the comments on the node announcement, because there were a lot of them. One thing that I wanted to talk about as well, going over the node announcement, I did have a couple people send me a message saying, you know, hey, I already had a bunch of properties in the area, and I don't really want to get rid of them to make sure that I'm in the raffle. So I was looking at the overall property shares and who owns what and all that fun stuff. And if we look at this, the majority of people, myself excluded, obviously, I can't win anything. The next person in line has 20, then 15, then 14. And with these, I don't want to necessarily make it so that these people can't win anything. That would be a massive disappointment. And I totally understand. What I was trying to get across with the making sure that you had the sends and making sure that you had the buildings and making sure that you tried to keep it at 3 and maybe flip to 4th, is so that more people could get in, so that more people could participate and kind of have fun with the node as well. And still allow people who are within the node to be able to buy and sell and still have a little bit of fun there too. Like I said, I'm a trader. I totally understand the desire to want to make profit. So flipping properties, definitely right up my alley. So instead of just saying, okay, well, if you have more than 4 properties, you're completely disallowed, we need to modify it a little bit to be more inclusive. So instead of doing it that way, and again, just to preface this, because I don't want people going out and buying everything and then all of a sudden it's completely locked up again. That's not any fun. But I generally would still like people to try to keep it at 3 with 1 to flip if they so choose. That said, understandably, some people, before I came in, moved in the area, had properties here already that they like the zone too for their own reasons. And it's not very fair to tell them, hey, you're not included in our club because you were here first and I'm not. That's not very fun. So instead, anything over those 4 properties, every property over 4, I'll take 5% away from the reward. So it's kind of like a degrading reward. It means that people who have 20 properties are going to get an incredibly small reward. They'll still be rewarded, but it's going to be very small. As an example, if we looked at that, 20 minus the 4 is 16 times 5, they're going to be getting 80% less of the reward. They're still getting something. They're still participating in the node. They still own properties in the node, so they deserve to be compensated equally for it. But that said, we do also want to make it a bit more, beneficial to the lower people who don't necessarily have a bajillion properties in here, who may only have 1. They're going to be the ones that get the biggest bang for their buck. Hopefully that makes sense, and hopefully that is fair enough. If you have any comments or anything like that, feel free to drop those in the comments as well. But that way, it'll make it so that everybody is still involved and good to go there. And like I said, from the send side of things, I was going to look at it and say, it's got to be the send in there, and they've got to be active and all of that. Again, with as difficult as it can be to track the sends and the fact that you might not be in the same city as I am, any send on any of my properties, it doesn't matter where, that is going to be added to our raffle to be given away to our nodelers as well, just so that we're on the same page there. All right, so that's going to do it for this weekend review. Like I said, if you have any questions, comments, or anything else, drop them in the comments below. I always love hearing from you. Of course, this one was very long. It's a very long video today, but we've got a lot of updates to go over and cover with the node and all of that. I'll try to keep the videos more separated in future, just so that it doesn't bog everything down too much and we don't have mile-long videos. I like keeping them at the 10, 15, 20-minute mark. Those seem to be pretty digestible. I think we're going on about 40 minutes right now, maybe 50. It's a bit high. We'll see if we can wean that down a little bit and kind of separate these up and kind of keep the node updates a little bit more concise. But this time around, we needed to go through, make sure the spreadsheet was all explained and that we're all on the same page. Hopefully, we did a good enough job there. Until the next one, though, if you have any questions, like I said, you know where to hit me up. Otherwise, enjoy. Thanks for watching. Thanks for participating in the node. You're all incredible. If you're looking to participate in the node, it's just a matter of picking up a property in the Wood Hood over in Sherwood Forest in Detroit. Of course, if you're not in Upland or you don't care about Upland or you don't necessarily want to participate in the node, but you still want to support the cause, swing on over into ssftg.live/merch and pick up some of these wicked awesome different designs that we've got going on. 50% of the profits of this get donated to Autism Speaks. Again, an incredible foundation and definitely something that needs to get checked out if you haven't yet. That's going to do it. Rest up, enjoy, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next.